Okay, so you want to own a martial arts club. You picture the mats, the smell of fresh tape and canvas, a room full of students bowing in as you walk the floor. You've trained for years. Maybe you've got a black belt on the wall. And somewhere along the way the thought crept in. Why am I paying someone else every month when I could be the one collecting? You imagine dues landing in your account like clockwork, a loyal community that calls your gym home, and a life where you finally get paid to do the thing you love. That's the picture. That's what every instructor who's ever dreamed of going out on their own sees when they close their eyes. Here's what that picture leaves out. The month the rent is due and 11 members' credit cards silently declined and nobody called them back. The instructor you can't afford to lose asking for a raise you can't afford to give. And the quiet, brutal fact that a martial arts club is not a dojo at all. It's a subscription business wearing a gi. And the people who forget that are the ones who lose everything. So you think this industry is too small to fail in? Flip that assumption upside down. The martial arts market is a $21 billion giant by 2026. But here's the quiet truth about that rising tide. It's drowning individual school owners right now. Silently. From the outside that looks like growth lifting every school. But here's the number that should stop you cold. At the studio level, net profit margins usually land somewhere between 7 and 15% for owners who actually manage the place. And the ones who don't track their numbers every single week? They routinely run below 7%, or at a loss, even when the mats look packed and the parking lot is full. That's the first trap. A busy gym and a profitable gym are not the same thing, and almost nobody can tell the difference from the outside. So before you make a single dollar, you have to get in the door, and that door is more expensive than it looks. If you go independent, the realistic runway is $50,000 to $100,000 just to open. The build-out, the mats, the equipment, the first few months of rent before anyone's paying you. Now, if you go the franchise route, take a name like Gracie Barra, over 1,000 schools worldwide. The startup cost alone can hit $234,000. But don't fixate on that price tag. Fixate on the hidden, silent cost. A royalty of up to 8% that you pay on everything, every single month, forever, regardless of profit. And if you want the big corporate machine, a UFC gym, the brand built by the man who created 24-hour fitness, the total investment runs from about $155,000 to over $500,000, with a $30,000 to $50,000 fee and a 6% royalty on top. But here's the part that should really make you pause, and it's the part nobody advertises. UFC Gym's own franchise system, the one with the octagon in the lobby and the global brand behind it, shrank by about 20% in its most recent filing and reported a closure rate above 16%. If the biggest name in the sport can't guarantee survival, that tells you the money problem isn't out there in the market. It's inside the building. So let's go inside the building, because this is where the dream quietly starts bleeding out. Your single biggest enemy isn't the gym down the street, it's a number most owners can barely say out loud: churn. Churn is the percentage of members who walk away every month. At a traditional dojo, it runs around 5 to 8%. At an MMA gym, it's worse, 8 to 12% every single month. Because the entry experience is harder, people get hurt, and the beginner who came in fired up after a UFC card is gone before he ever learns to fall properly. And here's the cruelest twist in the whole business. A huge share of the people you lose never actually decided to quit. Their card expired, the autopay failed, and after a few weeks of silence from a gym that was too busy to notice, they simply stopped showing up. You didn't lose a member, you lost a payment you forgot to chase. And if you thought that was bad, it's about to get worse. Because that leak is sitting right on top of a fixed cost that never sleeps. That fixed cost is your overhead. The rent, the insurance, the instructor pay, and it shows up whether 10 people train that night or 100. So let's make this painfully personal. Imagine you need $22,000 this month just to keep the lights on, pay your instructors, and cover rent. At $150 a member, you need 147 people through the door just to make nothing. You don't pay yourself until member 147 walks in. Now stack that against 8 to 12% of them silently vanishing every month, and you understand the treadmill. You are not building a community, you are refilling a bucket with a hole in the bottom, and the hole is always the same size. This is why the gyms that survive become obsessed with one number above all others. Because boosting your student retention by just 5% can raise your profits somewhere between 25 and 95%, while chasing a brand new student costs you 5 to 25 times more than keeping the one you already had. Retention isn't a soft, feel-good metric. It is the entire business, hiding in plain sight. And once you see that, the whole model flips inside out, because it turns out you've been thinking about the product completely wrong. The instinct of every new owner is to pack the mats, More bodies, cheaper memberships, fill every square foot. But look at what the data actually says. A packed school of 300 students paying $118 a month grosses about $35,000. Now watch what happens when you flip the volume model on its head. A leaner school of just 150 students charging $250 doesn't just earn more, it's a fortress. It's servicing fewer fragile egos, burning out fewer instructors, and because the client invested more, their churn rate falls off a cliff. Pricing isn't about being expensive, it's a churn killer in disguise. The real money isn't even in the group classes you picture when you dream about this. Class fees are around 70% of revenue, sure, but private lessons, maybe 15% of the top line, carry some of the fattest margins in the building. And the quietest profit center of all is the one most owners underprice out of guilt: the kids program. Youth enrollment is the single most stable revenue in the entire business. Families rarely quit mid-season, and most schools charge children the same or less than adults. The owners who figure that out are running a different business than the ones who didn't, in the exact same sized room. So can owning a martial arts club actually make you money? Yes. The average gym and martial arts owner pulls in around $86,000 a year, and the top 10% clear well over $200,000. But look closely at how they got there, because it's almost never the way the fantasy promised. They didn't win by being the best fighter in the building. They won by treating a passion like a business, by watching churn like a hawk, pricing on value instead of copying the school down the road, chasing every failed payment, and protecting the members they already had instead of endlessly hunting new ones. The romance of the dojo is real. The economics of the dojo are a spreadsheet, and the people who thrive on these mats are the ones who can hold both of those truths at the same time and never confuse one for the other. Because here's what you're actually buying when you sign that lease. You are not buying a room full of students bowing in. You are not buying a stable, effortless paycheck for doing the thing you love. You are buying a machine that turns discipline into recurring revenue and runs entirely on one fragile assumption: that the people on your mats this month come back next month. The instant they stop, no black belt, no brand, no octagon in the lobby moves fast enough to save you. Master that one truth, and this can be one of the most rewarding businesses a person can own. Ignore it, and you'll become just another empty gym with beautiful mats and a story about how good the students used to be.